and turn back to Matthew chapter 6. Turn back. And I'm just simply being obedient to the Spirit of God, because when God led me here, He made it very clear to me that this wouldn't be a one Sunday sermon. And as I began saying in our spiritual enrichment hour, because we've been dealing with prayer, and I said to the church, God is saying something. Are we listening? God don't keep us somewhere for no reason. There's something God is saying, and it's something that God is trying to show us. So it's here that God has us. Matthew chapter 6, commencing at verse number 5. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by men. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But when you pray, go into your room, into your secret closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Therefore do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need of before you ask Him. So in this manner pray, therefore, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. And just as we continue from our subject, the instructions for prayer, you may be seated. As I began on last week, I mentioned that prayer is communication with God. It's having a talk with your Father, having a talk with your dad. And if He's your daddy, if He's your father, you ought not be afraid to talk to Him. You ought not be able to be afraid to go to your Father and have a conversation with Him. Not all so much about what's going on in your life. He knows what's going on in your life. But sometimes just to go and say, I just wanted to talk to you. I really want to ask you for anything. I just want to talk to you. And it's the thing that we need to do more of. Talk to our Father. I said in the spiritual enrichment hour, we've been taught to pray, and we do that. But praying must go beyond just praying. If we're going to pray, we might want to get in tune and in touch with the one we're praying to. And that's what Jesus is simply showing the disciples here. They pose, or they ask, teach us to pray. Because they had a desire to want to know how to pray. I think when we was simply told to pray, we didn't stop to ask, well, how? And it's evident in the fact that you will hear a number of people say, well, I don't really know how to pray. Well, we got to find out. We don't want to just be doing something just to be doing it. James says that the effectual, fervent prayer of the righteous, they avails much, which simply means that if we're praying, and if we're in touch and in tune with our Father, our prayers should not only be impactful, but they ought to be evident that we are praying. Because Jesus says it right in the text, that if we're praying, especially in secret, then our Father who sees in secret will reward us openly. So our prayers should be evident that we're praying. And I left off on last week. We were talking about the publicity prayer. Publicity prayer is akin to almsgiving. It's done simply for publicity. Those who do it simply do it because they want to be seen. And in this publicity prayer there is first the character of this style of praying. Jesus says, when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets. And the significant characteristic of this style of praying here is it was done in the synagogue. It was done as publicly as possible. In the synagogue, the prayer would stand so as to be prominent. Everybody who was somebody, I can remember those days, everybody who was somebody was in church. Everybody who thought they were somebody was in church. And it was the same way then. Everybody who was somebody, everybody who thought they was somebody, went to the synagogue, but not everybody went for the same reason. Not the same as it is that not everybody come to church for the same reason. But everybody who was somebody went to the synagogue. And they went often, which means you could be seen often. In society, the prayer, the one who is offering up prayer, will stop on the street corners where many people were and then do their praying. They will look for a crowd in the streets if they couldn't find one in the synagogue. These prayers wanted to be seen. And the reason why is even though they had the wrong motive and the wrong attitude, they were right about one thing, that prayer carried a lot of weight. And that prayer got the attention of a lot of people. If you prayed, folk thought you were somebody then. They got to be known for their much speaking. They got to be seen by people who was considered to be somebody. And so they understood that there was something about prayer. I said this to the church. Let me just say this again for those who didn't hear. It seems to me, this is just me. It seems to me that when we had little, we prayed a lot more. Now that we have a little something, now that God has blessed us with a little bit, we don't feel like we need to pray as often now. We have some of us have become closet Christians or closet prayers who only pray when we find ourselves in trouble. We'll only pray when we desperately need something from God, when we need a helping hand. And I said this into the church, God is not a quick fix for your bad habits. God is not a remedy for when we just need him, when we need a little fix. Y'all get that later. That wasn't the purpose of prayer. Prayer meant something to our grandparents. And it meant something to our grandparents because their parents, it meant something to their parents. And somewhere along the line, somebody have told us that prayer don't mean a thing. And obviously they believed it in the school system because they removed it. And what we have failed to do was to continue to instill in our children. It doesn't make a difference whether they remove prayer out of school or not. You take prayer with you no matter where you go, because prayer is something that's on the inside. It's not on the outside of you, and so it's not something that anybody can take from you, because I can pray and you don't even have to know it. And this is the thing that people miss. Why you're rejecting me praying is because of my praying that you're still in the position that you're in. You don't understand that because of my prayer unto God, you are still breathing breath. You don't understand that because of my prayer, you're still standing. The prayers of the righteous. That's what folk don't understand. You fighting it, but I'm the reason why you're still here. Simply because I'm in your presence, simply because you have some kind of connection to me, and because of my connection to God, God has spared your life. They don't understand that because of our prayers, listen, this nation will probably be under siege right now if it wasn't for some praying folk. God takes no pleasure. Go back to the Bible and read it for yourself. God takes no pleasure in those who declare themselves strong and mighty and try to hold his people in bondage. It's the prayers of the righteous, not these publicity prayers. God's not concerned about those. The character of this style of praying, the cause for this style of praying, that they may be seen. That's why they were doing it. This is the same motivation that publicity and almsgiving had, praying to be seen of men, adorning one's arm to gain the praise of men, are one and the same in motivation. The religious leaders in Jesus' day were often big hypocrites who wanted to look very devoted and pious, although they were wicked on the inside. So they did their praying and almsgiving with as much publicity as possible. Their thinking may have been this, that the more they could be seen and heard, the more highly people would think of them. And the more religious they would look. That's the reason why they wanted to be seen. And they had no concern about folk being saved. That's why we can't just do church. Church ain't never saved nobody. God used saved people to save people. Because anybody can play church But you can't play being saved. The minute you try to play with being saved, everybody knows. Not church. Not church. They had no concern about folk being saved. When those in days of old prayed, you knew it. You felt it. I can remember my grandma telling me not to go somewhere. She ain't gonna know. She ain't gonna know. But she was praying. And so when I got the way I was going, you talking about an uncomfortable feeling, you talking? You just knew you wasn't supposed to be there. I told y'all last time that's why I learned to drive where I was going. So I wouldn't have to always be dependent on when I want to leave. I gotta wait because the prayer was directed towards me. My friends didn't understand how I was feeling. And so even though I was ready to go, they ain't ready to go. Because they seem to be having a good time. But they believed in prayer. And they didn't know a whole lot. But they believed in God and they believed in the power of prayer. These publicity seekers, they simply wanted to be seen. And they were hypocrites. And the more religious they thought they looked, the more they wanted to pray in front of the crowd. Christ severely condemns this pretentious behavior. And this is for the record. It is not necessarily wrong to pray in public, but it is wrong to pray in public if you're doing it simply to be seen. Because this is the kind of praying that Christ condemns. We're not doing too much praying in public, first of all, because in most arenas, you can't even mention Jesus' name. And if I can't pray in Jesus' name or call on Jesus' name, then I ain't praying. You don't have to tell me but one time. And you ain't got to worry about it. Because I will not cease from mentioning in Jesus' name. I've been instructed, I've been directed, and so I will not cease from mentioning in Jesus' name. And so if you don't want me to, I won't pray. And you deal with the consequences. But they simply wanted to be seen. The condemnation for this style of praying: thou shalt not be as the hypocrite. Publicity prayer is especially condemned by it being forbidden. Prayer is not a performance. Prayer is not a performance, but it is a privilege that should not be taken lightly. It is a privilege we didn't always have, and one we did not deserve. Therefore, any prayer prayed that does not, first of all, honor God, but is done just to be seen, God does not hear it, and therefore he condemns it. I told y'all, for those, y'all better get the spiritual enrichment. Because when it comes to prayer, when it comes to praying, there's a lot that we missed in our praying. And as I said to the class on this morning, now that we know God expects and He requires more from us, based now on what we know concerning prayer. It is not something that we just do. Prayer is a privilege that's been handed down to us. And it is something that we ought not to take lightly because it's something we didn't always have. Can you imagine now today, if you fast forward, if someone had to go to God and pray for you and you couldn't talk to God for yourself? If someone had to go to God and plead on your behalf for the things that you're dealing with in life, can you imagine how that would be if you can't even utter a word unto God because someone else is dependent on talking to God for you? That's what it used to be. And the Bible reminds us that even a priest was a human, that even when they went to offer a prayer unto God, they first of all had to offer a prayer for themselves. They first of all had to offer a sacrifice for themselves, because if they wasn't right, somebody pulled them out of that dead. It's not something that God takes lightly. When they went into the holies of holies before God, you got to be right. Heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit, because if not, you was done. And Christ has sacrificed His life so that we can go to God for ourselves. And the petition has been torn down, and now we have open access unto God. And we refuse to take advantage of the privilege of being able to go to God. This is the thing about me going to God for myself. I can tell God all about what I'm going through, and I don't have to worry about what I'm telling God. I don't have to worry about somebody spreading my business. I can talk, and you're going to see it in the text. I can talk to God how I want to, when I want to, and I can look like whatever I want to as I talk to my Father. I ain't got to be concerned about how I look and what nobody think about me. I don't take it lightly, the privilege that I have now of being able to go and talk to my Father. And I can talk to my Father and tell Him all about my trouble. I can tell Him all about my struggle. I can tell Him how the day was. I can tell Him, you don't understand the privilege that we have. We've been given this great privilege. And you know, it's nothing to take away from the Catholic God, but I don't know why they still going to the priest to make confessions. You just like me. You just like me. You have faults and failures just like me. The privilege I have now, I can go and talk to God for myself. And the fact that I can go and talk to God for myself, I don't have to wait till I get in a certain place and talk to God. I can talk to God wherever I find myself. And I ain't got to wait for Sunday morning to talk to God. I can talk to God. You know, my prayers ain't restricted to Sunday morning service. I ain't got to wait till Sunday morning to stand up before the congregation and be so eloquent in my speech. I don't talk to God before I even got here. You don't understand what I was doing at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was already having a little talk with Jesus. And so when I got here, I was all ready for service. Yeah, that word I covered y'all too. We have this great privilege that we once didn't have. Christ has made this sacrifice so that all of us now, those who belong to God, can talk to God for ourselves. You can feel what I'm feeling when I'm going through what I'm going through. You can't deal with it like I'm dealing with what I'm going through. And so when I go to God and talk to God, I can get as ugly as I want to get before God, because when I begin to petition God about this thing that I'm dealing with, when I begin to talk to God about some answers to this situation, I may have to cry I know you know what I'm going through. No, David said, I cried unto the Lord because this thing was about to kill me. And so I cried out unto the Lord. David said, I yelled, I screamed, I hollered unto the Lord. God, I need you to come to my rescue. I need you to help me because if you don't come to my rescue, God, this thing gonna kill me. You might not do it like that for me. And so I take advantage of this privilege that I have. And so God, Christ condemns, he condemns this style of praying. The consequences for this style of praying, verily, verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. And this phrase, they have their reward, is a devastating statement. If you note in verses 1 through 4, the almsgiving section, the phrase means that all the reward these pretentious prayers are going to get is the praise or honor of the men that's praising them. That's it. That's all you get. If they pat you on the back and they're applauding you, that's all you get. You better hope that it go a long way. You better hope that when you're back up against the wall, those folk who pat you on the back that are going to come to your rescue, you better hope when you find yourself in trouble, when you find yourself drowning, you better hope that one of those folk who patted you on the back is there to throw you a rope and pull you up out of those deep waters. You better hope that when you find yourself facing devastation in your life, you better hope those folk who applauded you and patted you on your back, you better hope they come and see about you, because that's all the reward that you're going to get. Because if it did not honor God, if you do not utter it in the name of Jesus, God does not hear you, he does not see you, and he's not coming to your rescue. You'll be just like the folk in Jeremiah days. God tells Jeremiah, tell them don't even pray no more, because I don't hear that prayer. Tell them it's not fasting. You might as well keep eating what you eat, because I ain't honoring none of it. They move in their mouth, but what's in their heart? They may have them church folk food, but they ain't fooling me. I see their mouth moving, but what's in their heart? It's far from them. And God is simply saying, keep it to yourself. Don't fool yourself. I don't care what folk done told you when you go and pray. You got to understand that there's a method. There's a manner in which we ought to pray, which we're learning now. Because it's not just praying. There's a method, there's a manner in how we pray. There's different kinds of praying. And you got to understand the laws that govern those prayers, so that when you pray, you'll get results. We're beyond the place of just praying. I said this morning, my expectations now, knowing what I know from the Word of God, that when I pray, I'm expecting for God to do just what he said he would do. And that's what I'm standing on. I'm not going to be moved by what nobody else is saying. I'm not going to be moved by what nobody else is doing. I'm standing on what God's word says. If God said it, I'm going to believe it, and that's going to settle it. I ain't moving come hell or high water. God's going to have to move me himself if he don't want me to believe. But I have an expectation now that when I open my mouth to pray, that God is going to do what he said he would do. That is my expectation, and I'm not coming short of that. Yeah. He said, and I'm holding him to it. And the Bible reminds me, God's not a man that he should lie. Neither should he repent. If God said it, he's got to do it. I'm standing. And I'm not saying it's not going to be easy. God never said the way would be easy. But he says that when you have done all you know how to do, stand with your loins girt about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the sword, which is the word of God, and take it with you. You gotta stand. Praying always with all prayer and supplication for all the saints. The consequences, they have their reward. And that reward will not be much. They will get no heavenly reward. They will get no lasting reward. They will get no worthwhile reward. Job says in 27:9, will God hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him? And in 35:12 and 13, dare they cry, but none give his answer. Because of the pride of evil men, surely God will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. God condemns publicity prayer, but this is the prayer that God honors, the private prayer. The private prayer, the private praying advocated by Christ is the kind of prayer God looks for from his children. It is just the opposite of publicity praying. No one here to impress, no audience to perform for. The requirements of this style of praying: when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. The requirements for private praying were privacy. This is done. This does not mean we are not to pray publicly, because there is other scripture that gives good examples of public prayer that is acceptable. What Christ is speaking of here is, instead of praying in public to be seen of men, we should pray in private where only God, who knows our heart, can see us. We don't have to worry about how we sound, whether our speech is acceptable, how we look. Do I look all right while I'm standing here praying? We don't have to worry about how I'm saying it. Did I say something I should not have said? The benefit of private prayer is that it's just you and God. And he is not worried about how you sound. God's not worried about your speech. He simply just wants to hear from you. He's not worried about how you look, because God just wants to see you. He ain't worried about the crowds, because he ain't impressed by them. When it comes to private prayer, all God wants to see and hear is you. He simply wants to see and hear from you. And I know the Bible encourages us to pray for one another, but as we've learned in Spirit, there must be a time for private prayer. There must be a time for private devotion. You gotta have time where it's just you and God. No husband, no wife, no children, no friend, no TV, no radio, no nothing. You gotta have some time that you spend alone in private with God, because this is where God gets to see your heart. This is the place and the time where God can hear your sincere and honest prayer. God wants us to spend some personal and private time with him. It is not private time if you're praying with the TV on. It is not private time if you're praying with the radio on. It is not private time when you're talking and telling your friend, I'm just over here having prayer. No, you're not, because now you're on the phone. The enemy has disrupted you. He's distracted you from doing what God wanted you to do. And so it is not private prayer with God. Private prayer is simply this, that when I go in my secret place and when I close my door, it ain't nobody but me and God. I don't want no interruptions, no distractions, no come get me for nobody, because this is my private time with my daddy, and I don't need nobody or nothing distracting me. Because this is what I learned in my private prayer time, that whatever is going on outside of this time here, God is already taking care of it. I ain't got to worry about stopping. God created this moment just for me. And so ain't no news that important that I gotta stop. Because in all likelihood, I may not even be able to do anything to help the situation but pray. I learned that in private prayer, that it doesn't matter what's going on. That because I've devoted myself to God for this time, God is going to make sure that everything outside of my prayer time is working the way it's supposed to be working, that everything is happening the way it's supposed to be happening, because I dedicated myself and my time to God now. And so everything that concerns me, everything that concerns my life, because I've dedicated this time to God, God's going to see to it that those things are working in order. We got to devote some private time to God. And so the requirement is that you find a time, find a place. And a private place can be anywhere. Here it is called a closet. And a closet was a room that did not have doors or windows to the building exterior. A closet can be your work office. It can be your bedroom or your bathroom. I sit on the throne. But if it works for you, hey. Because you gotta go, just don't use that as well. Since I gotta go, I'm gonna use this as my no. You can't do that. You can't do that. We don't want God to stop those bowels up. But you can't go. Anywhere a person can get alone with God and be in privacy is your closet. Since the true disciples praised for heavenly rather than a human audience, privacy in prayer was ideal for genuine prayer. Shutting the door in our text says to make sure you can pray without being heard, which is a counter of praying to be heard. God knows that when we're in private, that there's nothing show about it. Because we ain't got nobody there to perform in front of us. So God knows that our heart is right when we come to him in private, when we devote ourselves privately to talk to God. God knows that our prayers are sincere. because we are alone now with God. The requirements for this style of praying, the rewards for private praying. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. You do not need to be seen of men to regain a reward for your praying. Two things are said about this reward. First, there is the source of the reward, thy Father. God sees all. And if you are praying properly, God will duly reward you. This didn't come from man, nor anything else you might think could reward you for praying. This comes directly from Jesus himself. That if you pray to your Father who sees you in secret, he will reward you. Second, there is the sight of the reward. He says that he's going to reward you openly. There is a day of public vindication coming for all those who are truly God's people, who have in the heart and are therefore real. While people are saying to you, it's not going to happen, God is saying to you, I'm going to show them through you that it's going to happen. And when God rewards you openly, they will be left standing with their mouth wide open, wondering how. Praying in secret or giving your alms inconspicuously will not hinder the obtaining of your reward. It makes the reward much more possible because it's done in private and not for public show. It was in sincerity. And Jesus says that because you did it in secret, because you found the time to take out some time and talk to your Father in secret, no one knowing but you and him, no one seeing but you and him, because you took the time to talk to your Father in secret. This is the promise that your Father makes to you, that he sees you in secret, and because he sees you in secret, he's going to reward you openly. And what Jesus is simply